Hi there, welcome to this final video in this series for the exam success for the 18th edition, City and Guilds 2382 for the 18th edition wiring regulations. Remember, as we run through, read the questions, read the answers. If you know the answer, answer it. If you're 8% sure, answer it, flag it and move on. Remember, you only have 2 minutes a question. After reading the question and reading the answer, you don't know the answer, but you can look at the keywords in the question, the answers to find your answer route, then utilise those keywords to find your answer route and find your answer. Now, if you have been hunting for 2 minutes and you're no closer to answering the question, remember it's a timed exam. Answer it to the best of your ability, flag it, and write the number down in the back of your login sheet. Okay. Remember, you'll have other questions that you will have flagged. This just allows you to come back and focus on these ones where you have struggled. Okay, remember, you might come across the answer at some point through your journey through the remaining questions. So we'll look at questions 51 through 60 on this paper one. Remember, pause the video as we go so that you can go and find the answer route yourself. All right. So question 51, for initial testing, which of the following is part of the correct sequence of testing for this initial verification testing? So we've got continuity of conductors, polarity, insulation resistance, and earth electrode. Polarity, earth electrode, continuity of the ring. Insulation resistance, continuity, earth electrode resistance, polarity, and ring continuity. And then we have continuity of conductors, insulation resistance, polarity, earth electrode resistance. Okay. So we're going to go and look in the index. We're going to look at testing, and you'll see testing, it tells us to go and look at section 643. In 643, the first regulation there in 643 tells you that all the tests where relevant have to be carried out. We need to use equipment conforming to the appropriate standard, and if we're working in potentially explosive atmospheres, we need to be taking the appropriate safety precautions. And then it says there in that fourth paragraph, the tests of regulation 6432 to 6436 where relevant is going to be carried out in that order before the installation is energised. And then it says where the installation incorporates an earth electrode test, that 643, that test detailed in regulation 64372 shall also be carried out before the installation is energised. So that then just requires you to then go back and read through the headings for each one of these upcoming regulations to work out the order of tests. Now, hopefully, you are aware of CRIPER or CRIPEPR, however it's been described to you, where we're dealing with continuity of conductors, insulation resistance, polarity, and then earth electrode resistance. So you should hopefully know that answer D is the correct answer without actually having to go and look. But as I said, that is your answer route there. Okay, making sure that they're carried out in the right order in section 643, regulation 643.1. Question 52, for a new installation, which of the following persons completes the section on the electrical installation certificate that recommends the time period until the next inspection and test? So at the start, I think we looked at one where it spoke about periodic inspection and testing. This one here is actually talking about the certificate itself. So there's multiple ways in which we can find this. If you don't know the answer, hopefully you do know the answer, I'll show you how to work out your answer route. So in the index, we're going to go to the electrical installation certificate because that's the certificate you fill in for new works. And we're going to go to Appendix 6. In Appendix 6, you'll find the electrical installation certificate. That's the first certificate that's there. And down the bottom of the certificate, you'll see there the next inspection. It says, we, the designer, recommend that this installation is further inspected and tested after an interval of not more than X amount of years and months. So it's the designer that does it. As I said, or you could have went down the same route we did at the start of these exam success videos, and you could have went down initial verification and found the regulation in there in part 1. Okay. Question 53. Zone 1 extends to which of the following distances from the sauna heater? So we're looking at sauna heaters and we're looking at zones in sauna heaters. So we'll go into the index, go to saunas, and you'll see down at the bottom of saunas we have zones, and it tells us to go and look at 703.32. And in 703.32, as soon as you open up the book at 703, section 703, sauna, rooms containing sauna heaters, you will see this figure here, and you'll see the half a metre clearance for zone 1 from the edge of the sauna heater. That's the only thing that's allowed in zone 1, the sauna heater itself. Question 54. Which of the following should assemblies for the distribution of electricity on construction sites form to? So a couple of ways we could do this. You could go and look at the British Standard numbers, or we could get into construction sites and look at the assemblies for constructions, or look at the standards required in construction sites. So in the index, we have assemblies for construction sites, or construction site installations, then assemblies for construction sites, and we've got 704.511.1 or 704.5372. 704.511.1 is the compliance with the standards, and it tells you there all assemblies on construction sites and demolition sites for distribution of electricity shall be in compliance with the requirements of BSEN 61439-4. So that's a pretty simple one to find. Question 55. Which of the following is the maximum rated residual operating current of an RCD required at the origin of a cable intended to supply temporary structures in exhibitions, shows and stands? So we're going to look at exhibition, shows and stands, and we're going to look at the protective requirements at the origin of the supply. So if we go to exhibition, shows and stands, you'll see there we have supplies. That takes us to 711.313, and that just gives us a breakdown on the supplies. But if you look down below that, you'll see protection against electric shock, chapter 41. And if you have a wee skim down the page, you will see there that we have that RCD at the origin not exceeding 300 milliamps. Okay. Question 56. The electrical appliance inlet of a caravan must have a minimum degree of protection to which of the following? And you see that I've got a list of IP ratings there. So we're going to go to caravans and inlets in the index. So caravan installations inlets takes us to 721.55.1. In 721.55.1, we have inlets. First regulation there, 55.1.1 there, is just talking about the standard that the inlet has to comply with. Yeah, and then 55.1.2 there, we've got some more information on the inlet, and sure enough, on the third point there, we've got IP44. Okay, as a minimum international protection or ingress protection for that caravan socket or caravan inlet. Question 57. Where cables are installed in a caravan, and unless they're enclosed in rigid conduit, they should be supported. And then we've got a list of distances here. Okay, this is one of the caravans, or one of the few installations or special installations and locations that actually have cable fixing distances in. Okay, so we're going to caravans, and we're going to look at the support for cables in the index. So caravans, and then we have cable supports down there, 721.522.813. So in 522.813, it says there all cables, unless enclosed in rigid conduit and all flexible conduit, shall be supported at intervals not exceeding 0.4 of a metre for vertical runs and 0.25 for those horizontal runs. Okay. Question 58. In floor areas where contact with the skin or footwear is possible, the maximum surface temperature of the floor should not exceed which of the following? And we've got some temperature ranges here. So If we go to floor heating systems, you'll see there it says C embedded heating systems, section 753. And if we go to embedded heating systems, you'll see there down in embedded heating systems, we have protection against burns. And it says go and look at 753423. So if we go to 753423 there, it says in floor areas where skin contact or footwear is possible, the surface temperature of the floor shall be limited. And then we have this cheeky wee note underneath the regulation. Remember, notes are just as important as the actual regulation itself. And it says, for example, to no more than 35 degrees C for floor heating systems. So there's our recommended maximum temperature. Then we have question 59. Which of the following appendices would you refer to for information relating to model forms for certification and reporting? Now, this is just a simple contents page where you just go and look up the contents and find out what the name of each one of these appendices are. And you'll see there that if you look in the contents page, Appendix 6 is the one for model forms. Okay. Appendix 15 relates to which of the following, and again, this is another contents page type question. All you're doing is you're just identifying the appendix, or what the name of the appendix is, and its ring and radial final circuit arrangements. Remember, this type of question could be anything, or this. And even in Appendix 15, they could ask about maximum floor areas covered by a ring, or a 20 amp radial, or a 30 ampere radial, 32 ampere radial, or they could talk about minimum cable sizes. They could talk about connection of cookers greater than 2 kilowatts. There's loads of information here that they can actually talk about in each one of these appendices. Okay, so that's us through that first sample paper. Remember, if you have any issues, you know how to get in contact with me. Hopefully this has got you into the right mindset for how to approach your exam. Remember, it's all about trying to save time as you're running through. Remember, you know a lot more than what you're probably willing to admit. Okay. You've been surreptitiously programmed with information all the way through your apprenticeship and your time on the tools, or your time doing design. So trust in the knowledge that you know. There are 6 sample papers in your folder, plus there's another 2 exam format sample papers being provided to you. You've got plenty of opportunity to get yourself up to speed for this exam. Okay, so onwards and upwards, folks.